It's the fastest 2 hours on the radio, covering it all from the Fighting Tigers of LSU to the tracks of NASCAR on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now, here's Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel.
And good morning. Welcome to Sports Shorts, broadcasting live here at the LeBares Hotel and Casino Studios in downtown Baton Rouge. Joel Davis alongside Buzzy Heidel. Ronnie Rance out today in Scotland playing golf with some buddies. And took enough time this morning to FaceTime Buzzy to let him know how great he's doing on the golf course. A lot going on in the world of sports. The New Orleans Pelicans got off the schneid last night versus the Golden State Warriors, one of the greatest teams of all time, and I'm not even joking when I tell you that this is a team that could go down as one of the greatest teams of all time, and how loaded they are, how good they are. When you got a guy like David West coming off the bench and giving you great minutes, giving you good defense, can score, but doesn't get a whole lot of playing time because of how great this team is. The Pelicans get the victory last night, 119-100. And it wasn't that close. I mean, this team absolutely dominated the Golden State Warriors at home in the Smoothie King Center last night, led by AD and the bench. The bench was out of control. That is exactly what this team needs to win. They need their depth to give them something in these games. If they can do that 3 more times, I'm going to tell you right now, the Pelicans can win this series. They should have won Game 2. They had an opportunity, but Buzz, you watched part of that game in Game 2, and you saw the inconsistencies when it came to foul calls, and it was atrocious. When AD and Drew Holiday don't get to the line, they never see the line.
Right.
That's abysmal. That's abysmal.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I know all our listeners and Ronnie would be proud, and I know you're proud that I actually watched the Pelicans game. But it's funny, and I see why non-baseball fans, when the playoffs come, watch playoff baseball. Major League, I'm talking about.
Right.
Because it's just
different.
Right, it's just different.
It is.
I think it's the same way with basketball a little bit. I mean, baseball is obviously a lot longer game-wise. Basketball, season-wise, excuse me. Basketball is a pretty long season as well, though. And so I lose interest in it, and it's one game after another. They're going to always score 120 points. But, when you really break it down and watch a basketball game and it means something like it does in the playoffs, it was fun. And I enjoyed watching. Look, in that first game, whatever night that was, Tuesday or Wednesday night, Joel?
I don't know, for breakfast yesterday.
I don't even remember. It was in California. Who cares? But I thought that, look, I mean.
2 weeks ago, based on the way the NBA playoffs
that's a good point.
are set up.
No, I thought the difference in that game was, you're right. I thought the Pelicans played extremely well. I thought Curry was the difference. I mean, he came back and was just draining everything from the three-point line. And they were right there still to win the game.
And he was also put on the line a lot.
I think they lost by 5 points that game. It was 4 or 5 points. But I wasn't able to watch yesterday's game. I kept up with it. I looked at some recaps. I was doing the UL Lafayette Coastal Carolina baseball game down in Lafayette for CST. But man, how excited can you be? I mean, what great play from the bench. What great play from Anthony Davis, particularly in the second half, or really only in the second half. I think Rondo is just an amazing point guard. I mean, I think what he does with the ball dishing. I mean, he doesn't have to score any points.
Got a stat for you for Rondo.
He doesn't have to score any points, and he contributes every game. And I just love the way he goes toe to toe with Draymond Green.
Yeah, he's got an attitude.
He's got an attitude, and it's a good attitude.
Right. You have to have that. You have to have that. You have to have an alpha male on the roster, and then
Cousins. And he's not that big. That's what's funny.
He's not.
What I mean is
he's thick.
He's not Anthony Davis, just towers over
right.
you. He's just, he's probably looking up to Draymond Green and saying, come get some,
Green's a big dude. And can you believe the Pelicans had an opportunity? They took not Phillip Rivers. What's the Rivers kid that's basketball? That's who they drafted.
Steven Rivers.
No,
Phillip Rivers' brother.
Not Phillip Rivers.
Austin Rivers.
They drafted Austin
Doc
Rivers.
Rivers' son.
Right, over Draymond Green. And I mean, let me tell you something. Draymond Green is the catalyst to that basketball team. He is going to take what you give him, and he's gonna deliver. That's the difference. He's not a three-point shooter, but if you give it to him, he can make those shots. He's a great defensive player. He's got that attitude. He irritates you, and he's a big part. He's a leader of that basketball team. Now, he's not Steph Curry. I know he's not Klay Thompson when it comes to scoring, but he can do. He's defense. He can be a phenomenal defensive player, which he is, and he's a leader on that basketball team. And man, if you take If you take that dude and you put him on the Pelicans right now, they're going to win the championship.
Absolutely.
That's all they need.
By the
is
way,
a dude like that.
Can I make a point? Why does Charles Barkley want to fight Draymond Green?
Who doesn't want to? You don't want to fight Draymond Green?
Time out. Charles Barkley, I'm talking about. You were the exact same player. Maybe not. You were worse. Everyone
So
hated.
what?
My point is, everyone hated you, Charles. Why do you want to
Right.
fight? Like, if anybody else would have said that, though, Joel, I would agree with them. Oh, you want to fight Draymond Green because he is. He's a, you know what?
Yeah.
But Charles Barkley, you can't say
Yeah, but he's
that.
mature now.
Well, I know,
Charles
but-
is mature
Yeah,
now.
well, but you
He's
weren't
grown
then.
up. But you know how it is. When you become a parent and you look down at kids that were just like you want to punch them in
But
the
to me,
face.
that-
I want to punch people in the face that were just like me when I was a
Joel,
kid.
but you have enough sense to say, you know what? I was a pretty. I did some stupid things when I was a kid.
Do you
too.
watch TBS? Do you watch that show?
Yes, I know
that
it's
show
a
is
joke.
a clown show.
I know it's a clown show.
It is a very good clown show.
I
But
agree.
those
And I
guys,
love Charles Barkley. Don't get me wrong. I
they
love Shaq.
want them to say whatever is on the tip of their tongue.
I agree, but I'm just saying, Charles
but
Barkley.
everybody was thinking the same thing right there. Charles just said it. Literally, everybody who's not a Golden State Warriors fan in the country was thinking exactly what Charles Barkley said. He just let it come out on national
But
television.
do you get where I'm coming from? It's
Absolutely.
Charles Barkley was the exact same player, probably worse. Everyone hated Charles Barkley.
Does everybody hate Ben Roethlisberger? Did you hear what he said?
What did he say?
He's
Something
a
about
jerk.
He,
He's a jerk.
a slime ball, isn't he?
Yeah, he's. I mean,
but he's a player, man.
He's a
player.
baller. That's the only reason why he's still in the league. I mean, he's unbelievable. So Mason Rudolph was drafted out of Oklahoma State in the third round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, just last year, Ben's thinking about retirement. He was doing the Brett Favre thing, the waffling. Am I going to play? Am I not going to play? How much longer am I going to play? So the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to protect themselves and their organization. They go out and draft Mason Rudolph in the third round, who, by the way, I think is one of the best quarterbacks coming out of college football this year. I was shocked that he fell all the way into the third round. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers got a steal in Mason Rudolph. Ben Roethlisberger, on an interview, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, was talking about, well, I'm shocked that they would draft this guy. I mean, I'm playing 3 to 5 more years. I mean, well, he can't help us. Well, surely we could have drafted somebody that could help us. And but no, we decided to draft a quarterback. And hey, I'm going to play for 3 to 5 more years. What's he going to do? This kid's not going to bring anything to the table this year. So I just think he was kind of throwing him under the Mason Rudolph. I think he was putting a wedge between those two before they've even met. Jerky jerk.
I'm okay with jerky jerks. Okay.
You like jerky jerks?
I'm okay with guys being a little over the top in athletics because you need a little edge. Okay.
But at
my
that
point
position,
I'm trying to make is, of course, everyone hates Draymond Green, but he plays with passion. But Charles Barkley, I know that's his job. I know it's his job to say it. It's just funny to me that there was probably whoever would have been the old guy when Charles was playing, probably sitting on TV, and saying, I don't want to punch Charles Barkley in the face.
everybody wanted to punch Charles Barkley in the face.
That's
When
the point I'm trying to
everybody loved him, but everybody hated him too. I mean, I loved Charles Barkley when he was a player. I mean, how many guys of
At
his
6'3".
stature? Well, no, he's like 6'6".
He's not that big. He's like 6'3" or 6'4".
Dude, he's like 6'6" or 6'5".
You want to make a bet? He's not that big.
I guarantee he's 6'5".
Because we're about to find out.
Is he 6'5", double L Lloyd? He's 6'5". I know, and he played in the paint his entire career.
They got him listed at 6'6".
Charles. He's at least 6'5".
They got him listed at 6'6".
He was a smaller forward.
Well, that's what it was. 6'6" is still a big guy.
But he played in the paint, bro.
Well, but that's my point. For not being the giant of giants.
Oh, right. He played bigger,
went
way bigger than he was. He played. The dude was an animal during his time, and he was a lot like Draymond Green. He got in. He was a thorn in a lot of guys' side, and he irritated a lot of people. And it is funny that he would say that, but everybody in the country was thinking the same thing because Draymond Green's just not likable unless you're a Golden State.
On your guy, on
right,
your team.
he's just not a likable guy. Even when he talks to the media, he's just not likable. So
look at us talking basketball.
No, look at you. You watch a half of a game, and all
I'm
of a
in
sudden
it.
you're an expert.
I'm an expert.
The LSU Tigers drop another big game last night. This was an opportunity, being 3 games back in their division, behind Arkansas, who has the lead in the Western Conference of the SEC. And this is a chance at home where against a team that you've pretty much taken care of. You've owned.
Coach Maneri,
embarrassed.
Coach Maneri has, let's just call it like this, has owned Arkansas since he's been here.
And it doesn't matter how good Arkansas is, and they're good.
Every year, LSU dominates Arkansas.
Yep. And this year, and last night was an opportunity. They were up 4-2 going into the 8th inning, going into the 8th inning. Hess gives up a home run, gets pulled, doesn't get an out, gives up a couple of base hits, and they bring in Bush, and the next thing you know, they're down 5-4.
Yeah.
And it was hard to watch. It was hard to see a team that grinded for 7 innings and played extremely well for 7 innings to see it slip away that way. That's baseball. But you didn't expect to see that versus Arkansas.
Yeah, and we'll break it down more. But what's disappointing and disheartening is that you said it, Joel. I mean, the game was there to be won. Hess pitched great. They actually, offensively, they went up against one of the better pitchers in the league, if not the best pitcher in the league. I think his name was Bright for Arkansas. And, Blaine Knight. And one of the best guys in the league. And they went toe-to-toe with this guy. And so they played really a complete game. Other than kind of, maybe Hess going out there one too many innings, and then them giving up the lead. But that's what's disheartening is they played so well against the best team in the West, against Arkansas, and they're so close. And I'm a glass half full guy, so I look at it like this. This is, you can look at it a couple different ways. They can't figure out how to win the close games, or their bullpen can't keep it together, or they, all those negative things. Or you can say, man, they're one pitch away. They're one hit away because they're in every game. They go toe-to-toe against all, the best teams in the country, and they're right there. So they're not that far away, but at the end of the day, you look at their record, they're 10-12 in the SEC. It doesn't matter if you lose by 1 or 20. A loss is a loss, and they've got to figure out a way to get those W's.
He's Buzzy Heidel. I'm Joel Davis. You're listening to Sports Shorts from the LeBares Hotel and Casino Studios. We'll be back. We'll talk a little bit about the Saints and their draft. We weren't able to talk about that last week. We'll talk about the Davenport pick and others. And also, we'll talk more about the LSU baseball Tigers.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the Grand Slam hitter to grandparents. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Does the new year mean new windows, hardy plank, or vinyl siding? Then you need to call Relief Windows for award-winning customer service and years of experience. Looking for quality replacement windows with lifetime warranties? Trust Relief Windows. Call us or come walk through our showroom and get a free consultation with one of our many window experts. Relief Windows is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Come see us today or call 288-8138. 288-8138.
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the blue chip athlete to blue collar worker. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And welcome back to Sports Shorts, broadcasting live at the LeBair's Hotel and Casino Studios in downtown Baton Rouge. Joel Davis, alongside my good buddy Buzzy Heidel, who was on CST last night. If you missed him doing the UL Eastern Carolina game.
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina game.
Coastal Carolina was actually a team
they
that
won the
came in
championship.
2016 and came through LSU, Baton Rouge, and beat LSU in the Super Region. I got to visit with Coach Gary Gilmore, which is the coach over. He's been a coach for like 23 years.
Right.
At Coastal Carolina. Great guy, super guy. I actually brought up, I said, Coach, you broke our hearts in 2016. I played for LSU back in the day, and I said, congratulations, y'all really were a great team there. And he looked, I said, I know that's been the past. You like moving forward. He goes, oh, no. He goes, that doesn't get old.
Right,
so, he's been in it long enough to know how hard it is. And it was a great call. I got to call with Dan McDonald, a longtime SID for UL, for Louisiana, excuse me. I had to go with Louisiana.
Be careful.
I dropped a few UL, so
they'll cancel your check.
Forgive me, Lafayette. That was by mistake, but I really do. I want to call them what they want to be called, and so I had to really get.
You're
on
like
board.
Ronnie. You're gonna call them what they want to be called, regardless of the situation, because the paycheck has to clear.
Yeah, it has to clear the check.
That's right.
Has to clear
Once
it,
the check clears,
because
you're gonna have like my stepdad Dick will call in because he gets furious. If you call him anything Louisiana,
well,
he get furious, and
Dick,
he's not the only one.
Tell Dick I was calling him Louisiana all night last night.
Oh, he hates you so much.
I'm going to tell you this though, and I know we got a lot to talk about. It was a good game. Louisiana Lafayette scored 12 runs. That's the most runs they've scored all year. They've been struggling offensively, particularly in the first half of the season. The second half they've gotten a lot hotter, but they've got a kid, and I think he's pitched against LSU, Colton Schmidt. This cat right here. I'm going to tell you what. He can pitch. You hear me? I mean, he doesn't throw the ball.
You can spell.
Pitches. Well, I'm working with my daughter.
You can SPELL. Yeah, that's good.
This guy does not THROW.
Huh?
He does not throw.
Oh, okay,
you were going to say throw.
What did you spell?
No, this guy is he's incredible. And if they wouldn't have scored that many runs, and if Coastal Carolina wouldn't have had to change a bunch of pitches, I literally think the game would have been over in 2 hours. That's how quick he works.
Yeah.
That's how many strikes he throws. Anyway, it was a fabulous game. That was my first time seeing the new Russo Park. They've done all these millions and millions of dollars worth of renovations. Joel, it's something to see, man. It really is. It's an awesome ballpark. And I had a great call with Dan McDonald, so I was happy to do it.
I know you didn't get to see the LSU. Did you see any of the LSU game? Or were you able to tap into? Okay. Mm-hmm. What's the deal with that pitcher late in the game? What's he doing on the mound? He's got a pee so bad. I've never seen a pitcher look like he's about to doo-doo or pee-pee on himself.
Who are you talking about?
The pitcher that was pitching for Arkansas last night. I've never seen so much move. He looked like a little.
Was it Ryan?
I don't know who it was.
Rendell?
I was watching the Pelicans, so I was kind of going back and forth.
Was it the last guy or the guy right out of?
I think it was the guy when LSU still had the lead late in the 7th. I mean, he would sit there and just kind of go back and forth.
He might have had the TT.
He looked like he had TT.
He might have had the TT.
All right, I'll let you and Hunt Palmer decide all that. He's coming in here at 10:30 to talk to you. Obviously, y'all talk a lot about baseball and LSU. In the meantime, I haven't had a chance to really talk about the Saints draft. And I want to tell you, anybody that's out there that thinks that the Saints that gave up, they gave up too much to go get Davenport, you're out your darn mind. And I'm going to tell you why. Finding a defensive end, a quality defensive end, is just as hard, if not harder, than finding an elite quarterback in the NFL. It is. It's the same type of position. When's the last time somebody signed a free agent defensive end that's a 10-sack guy? Doesn't happen. It maybe here and there, just like the quarterback position. You don't find guys on the street like Kirk Cousins that throw for 4,000 plus yards. It happens, but very rarely can you find a guy that can come in and be a franchise quarterback. This guy, they think that he is going to be a franchise defensive end. Now, let's think about this. They drafted him to come in and be a difference maker this year. They went all in with Drew Brees this year or next year winning a Super Bowl. That's it. So Cam Jordan didn't have any sacks his first year. Cam Jordan's an all-pro. That guy, I think he had maybe 10 pressures his first year, had 0 sacks. Now the guy's a 10-sack guy. So if you think he's going to come in this year and get you 10 sacks, I don't know if that's going to happen. But he can come in and put pressure on a quarterback on third downs that can maybe get a Lattimore interception or a Marcus Williams interception. That's what they're wanting. They're wanting a guy to be able to put pressure on the quarterback that can also defend the run. And if they have to give up the first round next year to do it, I'm all in for it, baby. Let's do it.
Well, you're right. I mean, everyone tell you we need a shutdown corner. We needed this. How do you get a shutdown corner? How about you get a defensive end who helps the corner? And that's what he does, putting pressure on the
everything.
That speeds everything up. That it gives the cornerback that second more or second less that he doesn't have to hang on to the receiver. This is my only thing with the pick, Joel. I like the pick. It's because everyone had him projected that he was going to be a mid-first rounder anyway.
Yeah, he was supposed to be going. We went right where he was supposed to go.
Right where he was supposed to. This is who the Saints wanted. The only oogie feeling is giving up what they gave up to get him.
I'm okay with that.
And I know you're okay with that. I'm saying that's the only thing that people say, well, it's not a home run pick because of what we had to give up.
If you get 10 years out of that guy
then
and
it is
2
a
Pro
home run
Bowls,
pick. Then it is.
10 years and 2 Pro Bowls.
100%.
If he gives you exactly what Cam Jordan's given you to this point, it's worth it.
Absolutely. But again, that's the mindset I think that people, did we give up too much for? Is the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak?
What happens if they have that late round pick? They do well this year. They go to the playoffs. They don't win the Super Bowl. They pick, let's say, 27th again next year. And they draft Stephon Anthony next year. I mean, is it worth it to get a franchise potential? People are comparing this guy. I mean, people that know are comparing this guy to Marcus Ware.
Wow.
DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah.
If he's anything like DeMarcus Ware,
anything close.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Again, only time will tell, and I think that's the beauty of the draft, right? I mean, that's why we get to talk about it, because you don't know, but the reason people aren't giving it just an unbelievable, just A+, it's a great pick, is because of what they had to give up. But I'm fine with it. Again, if that's who the Saints had on their pick, he went right where he was supposed to go, and the Saints needed a defensive end. Go get the best one available, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Or the best one, really. I mean, he was one of the best ones in the draft, and so they went get him.
The other pick that a lot of people are giving a hard time to the New Orleans Saints is Rick Leonard, the offensive tackle out of Florida State in the 4th round. They felt like they drafted him way too high, that this is a prospect that a lot of people didn't even have as a draftable grade on him. But if you go look at his measurables and what he's capable of doing, the Saints have been known to get guys with those types of measurables. And you look at Armstead for one. You look at Zach Strief as another. Guys that have this physical makeup that they can bring in and teach to play the position. He's only been on the offensive line for a year and a half. He switched from being on defense to offense. This is a guy that is a lean 6'6". He's not built like a guard. This is a pick to make into an offensive tackle. This is a depth position pick. If you can hit it in the 4th round with a stud that can give you 8, 9, 10 years in the league as a rotational player, man, I'm all for it. Would you give up a 4th round draft pick for a Sal Calamente again? Calamente was a huge part of what the Saints did last year. Now he's gone. You need to get that back. A 4th round for a Calamente right now is a great pick, and that's what they're hoping for. A guy that can play multiple positions and maybe even be a starter on the left or right side.
Yeah, he's not a guy that they're expecting to come in and again
come in right away
and play.
They don't need him right away.
But that's the question. It was this was their 3rd pick of the draft. It was a 4th round pick, but it was their 3rd pick. And I don't know this. You're more of an expertise out than I am, Joe. So I ask you: is it a guy that is a 4th round draft pick or the 3rd pick of a team? Is that normally a guy that they want to start right away, or
no?
Do they need quick?
I mean, it's nice this is a developmental player in the 4th, 5th round. This is a player that can come in, and a lot of times they do come in and can play right away. We've seen that before. But the 4th round is really when in the 5th, 6th, and 7th moving on, or players that you're hoping can come in and make your roster, play special teams, and can not going to start right away on the offense or defense side of the football, but can be a rotational depth player. That's what you need in the 4th and 5th, and 6th and 7th round is completely developmental. I mean, if you get the chance of getting a Marcus Colston in the 7th round is slim to none. I mean, sometimes you can get them. I mean, Tom Brady went in the 5th round. I mean, that's unheard of. It doesn't really happen, but it does happen. What I'm really excited about is the wide receiver Traquan Smith that they got out of UCF. I mean, let me tell you something, dude. He is a dog. This is a guy that can come in and play 8 to 10 years on your team and be super productive. You match this guy up with a Michael Thomas, they're physically the same guy. They have the same physical makeup. I would say that Traquan Smith may be even a little bit faster. Got good hands. He goes up and grabs the ball. He's bigger than defensive backs. He's more athletic, if not just as athletic as defensive backs. He's productive. He's a guy that could come in and actually give you 50 catches this year. If you can get 50 catches out of that guy, let me tell you something, dude. You're not going to miss Willie Snead.
No, and I agree with you. I like the pick. It's certainly the Saints went with the highest rated guy left on their board, and it was this guy, no doubt about it. So it was a nice pick. Anytime you can get somebody physical as he is, put him against Drew Brees with the wide receiving core that they have, you can't help but think that's going to be a lot of success in that guy's future.
I'm really excited about this draft. They got some players that can give them something this year. Look, it's going to be very hard. This is not like the Saints when they would go out and get 10 to 15 undrafted free agents and you're praying that 2 or 3 or 4 of them make the team.
Right.
It's much harder for a free agent to make this team today than it was 4 years ago because of the depth that the Saints and the brass of the Saints have been able to accumulate. He's Buzzy Heidel. I'm Joel Davis. You're listening to Sports Shorts. You're watching Sports Shorts right here in the LeBair's Hotel and Casino Studios.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the blue chip athlete to blue collar worker. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life. At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the three-point shooter to the three-piece suit. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And welcome back to Sports Shorts, broadcasting live at the LeBair's Hotel and Casino Studios in downtown Baton Rouge. Buzzy Heidel, Joel Davis, Ronnie Rance in Scotland. Is that Scotland? He's playing a little golf with some buddies.
Is that Irish?
Scotland. I have no idea. Scotland. Ask Tony. Is that maybe Double L? You have the an accent for a Scottish golfer. What
do they say? Oh, I wanted to say crikey, but that's not right.
Just a wee
blokes.
bit.
Yeah.
A wee bit inebriated. I'm sure that Ronnie and them are a little wee bit inebriated right now and having a good time.
He seems to have hit it into some fescue. No, that's English.
Yeah, that's very. I don't even know what fescue is. Is that
that's the long grass?
The long grass.
It's rough, but that rough doesn't sound
fescue.
Cod fodder.
Over the fescue.
Who?
The cod fodder.
The cod fodder. Okay, I've seen that movie. It's really good. Buzz, the LSU Tigers take it on the chin last night, 5-4. This is a team that had a 4-2 lead going into the eighth inning with Hess on the mound, playing very well. This is a bruising. I mean, this is a very deflating loss. I mean, this is a team that all week has been talking about, hey, we're right there. All we have to do is go in and maybe take, if we can take 3. I mean, that'd be unbelievable. But just get at least 2. Now they still have an opportunity to get 2, but no opportunity would have been greater than what they saw last night with a 4-2 lead going in late.
Yeah, and this, what's tough, this kills me to say because now this brings Ronnie Rance's prediction.
Which was?
It brings it to fruition.
I don't remember.
14-16 in the SEC.
If they're lucky.
That was it, 14-16. Now look, they're 10-12. They've got 2 more Arkansas games. If they can, games this weekend. If they can take the next 2 games and get it to 500, 12-12, they got Alabama coming next week, which is a bad team.
Bad team.
That legitimately could be a sweep. So then
which means they'll win 2.
Right. You're right. Probably so. And then you've got Auburn last weekend, best pitcher in the country, but arguably. Casey Mize on Friday night, but you got to go to Auburn last weekend of the series. So then, but anything can happen. But they've got to figure out a way to win a game. If they could win 2 games and finish out, even though it was a deflating loss last night. The one thing, and again, I said this earlier, the glass half full, Buzzy Heidel says, they're right there. And that they played really well. They went toe-to-toe against Blaine Knight, one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers in the league. Probably Blaine Knight had his worst outing of the season. And that had a lot to do with Bo Jordan, Duplantis, Bain. I mean, the first 4 guys in the lineup all had 2 hits. So if you're LSU, you got to figure out a way to shore up the bullpen. And look, I think if you ask Coach Maneri, he probably wish he maybe would have pulled Zach after the 7th inning and not let him go back out there in the 8th. Hindsight's 50-50.
Dude was rolling.
Yeah, he was rolling. I mean, if you take him out and somebody else comes in and gives it up, then you're an idiot.
And the bullpen hasn't been that good lately. So
that's
you wanted to go
right.
as long as you could with
so
this
go
guy.
with your horse.
That's right.
And that's who they went with. And it'll be interesting to see. But
when your record is what it is right now for LSU, every decision that Paul Maneri makes that doesn't work out he's an idiot. At this point, when your record looks like this. When your decisions like that, like you just said, maybe you should have pulled Hess out. Well, you're going to have those armchair quarterbacks that are going to say, well, you should have pulled him out. And then you're going to have guys on the other side saying, well, what are you going to go to? So there's really no answer when you're not doing well. The coach is going to take a lot of the blame. The manager is going to take a lot of the blame for every decision that he makes that doesn't work out.
Well, the tough thing about Coach Maneri, really the tough thing about LSU and being at LSU is the expectations, because for the last 6 years, no other team has done this, by the way, in the country, been a national seed.
Right.
LSU has since 2012 all the way to last year. They're obviously a little down this year. When you lose as much as they lost from a pitching standpoint, Lang, Poche, Walker, that's their rotation. Walker would have been in the rotation this year. He's out. When you lose that much, it's so hard to rebuild. I mean, offensively, they could be better, but they've got enough offensively to win games. Nobody's really great offensively anymore with the way the bats have changed and all that. But if you've got arms and you can play defense, which they play pretty good defense, you can win. Problem is they don't have enough consistent arms and enough guys in the bullpen to make up the difference. And then, by the way, it's a momentum thing. You start losing some one-run games. You start losing the close games. You start giving up leads. That it stays in your mind. It's tough to overcome those because when you're in a game and you're working down the back stretch of a game, it's in your mind. Can we close it out? We haven't been very good at it this year. And you don't pitch with the same, just looseness and just let it rip type of attitude. You play a little tight. And I think that's a little bit happening because they've got good players, Joel.
They do. They do.
And people that think they don't are crazy. I mean,
I think that
Hess is going to be a top round draft pick. I mean, Cabrera will be a draft pick high at some point. They've got good players. They've got guys in the bullpen that'll good young players. They just need to figure out how to win.
I think that they're one player. They're missing one player.
Arm?
They're missing one arm, and it's a very good arm. It's a top arm. They need that Friday night guy not to be Hess. Because can you imagine if you had a Friday night guy that was giving you exactly what Hess is giving you?
Yeah, and you could have Hess in the back.
And you had Hess closing everything out, being your closer. Last night, that doesn't happen. Hess comes in the 8th inning, and boom, he's done. It's over. He's going to give you 2 innings. He's going to give you an inning and a half. It's over with. That's all they're missing is another Hess. In my mind, I think that they would probably have 5 to 6 more wins if they just had a Friday night guy that wasn't Hess. And Hess was on the back end doing what he did last year, just shutting things down. Call me crazy, but it's not brain surgery. It's called having enough players and enough good players to win games.
But do you see where I'm at? Was Arkansas that much better than LSU last night? They
No.
probably weren't better at all.
No,
they just had one more hit, right? Or one more pitch at the end of the game. Arkansas's 4 in the country. They're the number 4 team in the country. If that looked like a number 4 team in the country, To me, call me
Well,
crazy.
I
just
think
didn't look-
baseball ratings are
a little
goofy.
A little goofy.
They
I agree
are
with you.
goofy.
I agree with you. And baseball in general brings everyone back to the pack because of one guy. That guy's
Right.
60 feet 6 inches away from you, because you can play a team that is literally can't win a game except when one guy pitches. But
Right.
when that one guy pitches and you get beat, that what do is it a good team, or you just got beat by a good pitcher? And so they're right there. It's just, again, we keep reiterating it. We keep saying the same thing, but they have to figure out a way to get the confidence. And look, they've got enough older guys. They've got the Jordan twins. They've got the Duplantis. Austin Bain's been there forever. Hess, although he's only been there for 2 years, is a veteran guy who's pitched in big moments. They've got enough. Josh Smith hurts because he's a leader offensively, and he seems to have kind of re-injured that or re-aggravated that strain in his back. Who knows where that's going to end up? But
Sure be nice to have that little pitcher that we had last year that hurt himself in the playoffs. Golly. Little sucker was good, man.
now, who was he?
I can't remember.
Eric Walker.
Yeah, dude, I wish we had
No,
him.
if Eric Walker doesn't get hurt, they probably win the national championship last year.
He's such a big loss. I mean, maybe he's your one pitcher.
Well, no doubt he is, and I think
Will he be ever the same? I mean, he was never a power pitcher.
No, but he could spot it.
But he could spot it well. Do you think this is a type of injury where he may never recover from it,
Well,
or can he come back? Because they're going to need him in a big way next
possibly,
year.
because Tommy John is a surgery that has had a lot of success. I mean, think about all the guys that have had it that have come back, even in big leagues, college too. So yeah, you might not ever be the same, but with the resources LSU has, the trainers, the doctors, all they can get him back healthy, and you don't lose. It's just going to be him getting back to throwing again and doing the whole deal.
We're going to take a quick break. Can we take a quick break, Lloyd? We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Lloyd the intern and Buzzy Heidel.
Hunt Palmer will be here too. He's a minute away.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He's great.
Thanks for answering the text, but appreciate it. That's me, by the way. Buzzy, great job, man. Congratulations on getting doing that gig last night. I know Ronnie doesn't pay well. Did he pay your gas at least to go over to Lafayette?
What do you think,
He did
Joe?
not do
What do you
that either.
think?
Okay. We'll be back after the break. Hunt Palmer will be joining us, and obviously with Hunt on the show, we will be diving into a lot of LSU baseball. We'll see you right after the break.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the blue chip athlete to blue-collar worker. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
Relief Window Experience. Relief Window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're back. Sports Shorts Radio presented by LeBears. Joel Davis out, Hunt Palmer in. Buzzy Heidel still hanging around on a Saturday morning. Glad you were with us. Talked a lot of baseball early in the show, I hear.
We have.
We're going to shift gears a little bit and go to some golf. Zurich Classic last week in New Orleans. And for what was an also-ran event on the PGA Tour that didn't attract many names and didn't move the needle much, this change to the team format has been an unbelievable success. I think you were out there last week.
Yeah, I was. I was there Saturday. By the way, if you want to watch golf, don't get in a suite. Don't get in the 17th.
Yeah, that's where you go drink and watch a couple putts.
I mean, free drinks, free food. So we get back late Saturday night. We wake up Sunday morning. And my wife and I went with some friends, and and my wife knows golf. I mean, I play it all the time. She knows what she's watching. She said, was there a golf tournament yesterday that we were at? Because I don't remember seeing one golf shot. And now that I think about it, I don't remember seeing a shot either. A couple putts because we were right there on 17. But I'm going to tell you, and Zurich, they're not a sponsor of this show or anything, so this is no marketing plug. But if you've not been to this tournament, and especially now with the new format, it is really cool. When we first got there on Saturday too, Hunt, we got there and you walk right up and the first tee's there. I said, well, we got to, this was Saturday. This was cut. They've already made the cut. So I said, we got to go hear some walkout music. And so we got there and really cool. Of course, there was like Thunderstruck. We heard like 4 walkout songs. Thunderstruck was 2 of them. Okay, so so there wasn't
I've had a little creativity here, boys.
There wasn't any originality there, but I got to say my favorite, and I was only there for 4, so I didn't get to hear them all. My favorite was Retief Goosen and a guy, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, was like Van Weisberger or something from South Africa.
Bernd Wiesberger?
Yes, yeah.
There you go.
I don't think it was Bernd. It was somebody else. But anyway, South Africa, and they had the song, and I'm going to butcher it, but it was the I come from the land of Africa.
Okay, yeah. Toto?
Yeah. So that was my favorite at the time, and really cool. Just really go change up to golf. I mean, you don't see that. With the Ryder Cup, you see a little rowdiness and you see people get a little crazy, but you don't ever see it in golf. And so they've created a little bit of their own identity down there at TPC Louisiana. I give a lot of credit to Steve Worthy, who's who runs the Zurich down there, and who's a friend of the family. And so really nice job. And look, the golf was incredible. I liked how they changed the format too, Hunt. I don't know if you saw that. They went from it was best ball and alternate shot, but they flipped
switched it.
The last day was alternate shot instead of best ball.
That makes it tougher.
And what it does is it makes it tougher, and it keeps everyone a little more in the pack is what they wanted, because if somebody's ahead by 4 or 5 strokes going to the last day and it's best ball, you're probably not going to catch them. But if it's alternate shot, now you got a little bit to work with. So really fun event. And if you hadn't been down there, and for the first time, and I can't remember how long, no rain the entire 4 days. That's what's good about that is, again, you can't help that. There's nothing you can do. That's up to the man upstairs whether it rains or not. But you hate to get that bad rap as a tournament that, you don't want to go down there, you're going to be in a rain delay whether it's your fault, it's nobody's fault, but they got perfect weather. I mean, it was just a great event. And of course, Billy Horschel, Scott Piercy, 2 guys that have been around the tour for a while now and have had success, got the W.
Yeah, so a couple of questions about being out there for this. The first with the walkout music. I was kind of skeptical of that. I'm like, it's a good idea, but like, when do you play it, and did it work? Do the guys like it? Like, what was the sense when you only saw 4, but
so, very good question and a good point, because if you've ever been to the first hole at TPC Louisiana, there's like a tunnel that leads from the first hole kind of to the driving range, and so the guys come through the tunnel. Maybe you change it up a little bit, and like as they're coming through, now you'd have to time it obviously, but maybe as you're coming through the tunnel. Like almost like a batter walking from the dugout or from the on-deck circle to home plate. So it was kind of a little, I know what you're saying. They were kind of just all standing there, and as they announced them, now teeing off, Retief Goosen, and then
and then they play the music like as he's putting the tee in the ground.
Yeah, and so it goes for a little while, and then that's it. But maybe there needs to be a little more strategy involved of if they can walk up to it. But again, it's a little bit different and it was a team format. So if I remember correctly, they only played the song for the team. So it's not like they kept,
Okay.
So if they announced Retief Goosen and Von,
So the team picks one
right?
song.
The team picks one song, and so maybe there needs to be a little change because it was, but I thought it was fine. The fans, the fans were on board, and one we saw was Justin Rose and Henrik Stenson, and I have no idea what the song was. I'm sure it was something from overseas, and all I could see was Stenson cracking up. Okay, and Justin Rose cracking up, and all he did was he went and put his arm around Justin Rose went and put his arm around Henrik Stenson. He said, "I'm sorry, partner. I'm sorry, partner."
So he goofed him.
So he did something to jab at him, which was really good.
That is my least favorite team out there because I'm a huge Ryder Cup guy, and they are always paired together in the Ryder Cup, and they're really good. So I would have been pulling against them very hard had I been out there. The other dynamic of this Zurich deal that I want to talk about is there's a very high school homecoming type deal here where someone has to ask the other guy to play in the Zurich. So they've made it to where the higher ranked player has to ask a lower ranked player. That's how.
Is that how it is? I did not know that.
But it's like, does that guy really want to play with me the whole week? Like, is he worried about winning money? Does he just want to have a good time? Like, it's a very interesting dynamic of when that phone rings and somebody's asking you to come play in the tournament.
Well, that's another good point because you see some pairings that you wonder how that came to be, right? Even like a Jordan Spieth, Ryan Palmer. Now I get it; they're Texas boys, and there's a connection there, but. And maybe they are friends. I guess you don't see it as much. You more think of like, well, wouldn't Jordan and now Ricky Fowler wasn't in it this year, but he's been in it in the past. Wouldn't Spieth and Fowler be a good? I mean, they're friends. They go on a lot of trips together. Or Justin Thomas. Like, you wonder if they've tried to kind of say, okay, higher ranked player, maybe ask a guy that's a little lower. But then again, you get Stenson and Rose on a team who are two powerhouses. So I agree. I thought it was. I think you see some teams that you just kind of scratch your head about a little bit and wonder how they came to be. And then, John Peterson was a guy who actually was leading Quail Hollow after the first night. He didn't shoot very well yesterday.
But Sam Burns did.
And Sam Burns did. So, but Peterson played well out there, and I don't know who his partner was, but he played well for a few days at the Zurich. He's leading the Quail Hollow, Wells Fargo. He was leading after the first day and then shot 6 over yesterday. But I'm a big golfer. I love it. I could talk about it all day. I'm in it now, so I see how hard it is when I play. I know how difficult it is. And I didn't know if you knew this, but I got to give credit and to our listeners. Ronnie Rance is in Scotland.
Okay, that's a good start.
So that's a good start. 8 rounds of golf in 7 days, which for the big fella, he ain't played 8 rounds of golf in 8 years, okay?
But he's playing all the historic courses?
Old course, St. Andrews yesterday. He took a picture on the bridge. By the way, he almost hit a ball, and I've only seen it on TV, but I've got video proof. He almost hit a ball in the creek is probably 3 feet wide, maybe. Yeah. That you walk over on 18. Mm-hmm. He almost hit a ball off the tee. It's literally like a 20-yard drive, and you're over it. He almost hit a ball in the water, but he just carried it. And of course, Links Golf. And number 18 is probably the widest fairway known to man. It is the widest
fairway in the world.
Known to man. So you just got to hit it in a vicinity. Well, he just carried it, and he probably hit a worm burner so hard that it ran another 150 yards. I say that, all that to say this. One of his best rounds probably ever in his life, he shoots at the old course yesterday, 89.
Really?
He's not playing from the tips or anything, but nobody does. I mean, we're amateurs. And I had to get proof from this, and I called those guys, and he's playing with a bunch of guys I know down from Miami. I said, I got to get, how many balls did we pick up?
I need some witnesses.
And just give us a double instead of like the quadruple we really made. Like what was, and they said, hand to the sky. Ronnie Rance shot a legit 89. I watched him. They were 2 and 3 handicaps. We weren't giving him anything. We made him, this was legit. I said, well, I'll give the big fella credit there.
That's a hell of a day. I mean, my dad did that trip a couple of years ago, played Carnoustie and Troon and all those.
Yeah, and so he literally just FaceTimed me today, this morning. They're at playing Carnoustie this morning.
Ooh, I don't know if the big fella's going to be handling Carnoustie too well. I think that's the hardest course in the world.
Is it
if I'm not mistaken?
Oh wow! And I put 20 on Ronnie to beat Louis Garcia, who's a friend of his. But I had 7-1 odds. So
I think you need to make a Kentucky Derby bet for later to cover that because I don't think that's going to.
I've seen Lou's game too now. Lou Garcia, who played at LSU back in the early '90s, He likes to spray it too, so I'm hoping the big fella can maybe hone it in for another round.
A big fella over in Scotland. Sports Shorts Radio here on a Saturday morning, 10 to noon. Hunt Palmer, Buzzy Heidel filling in for Ronnie Rance, who is gallivanting around Scotland, so we hear. A lot of baseball talk, a lot of golf talk in the second hour. Are we doing Pels later in the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Hunt, you're going to be proud of me, man. I don't ever watch basketball, ever. I actually watch it. Not last night. I called a game. I called the UL Lafayette Coastal Carolina baseball game, which we can talk about as well. But I watched it on the Tuesday, Wednesday when they lost to Golden State down in California. But I don't watch much basketball. It's my first basketball game probably in forever.
I've seen the Pels play 2 games this year. But what is very interesting, I went to one of them. It was against Golden State earlier this year, and there were more Warriors fans than Pelicans fans in the arena.
That's amazing.
All the little kids from uptown, like they just have Steph Curry jerseys on. They just don't care. But I think the city's kind of catching on here. I mean, I've got a bunch of buddies. Absolutely. And I'm glad. I mean, I have a bunch of buddies that went to the game last night. They're all fired up for Sunday's game as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the second hour. But do want to circle back to a little bit of baseball here as we close out. Last night was a gut punch, man.
You're brokenhearted, I could tell.
I was really bummed out last night. Like, they played so well, and now 2 SEC games in a row, you're just one swing away, and they make it and you don't. Ole Miss hits a big 3-run homer, and you can't get a hit with the bases loaded. And last night, Arkansas comes through after you get the double play with 2 outs and smokes a base hit to drive in a run, and then you have an opportunity in the 9th inning, and you can't get a hit.
It's upsetting. And look, you can go back through the whole season and pick out every game and say one pitch here, one pitch here. But just think about this. You're so right. They had the game won at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And they had the game won last night. If they're 12-10 instead of 10-12, which would be the difference, and if they would have won last night, Arkansas would be 13-9. You're 1 game out of first place in the West. I mean, it changes the complete.
Well, if you're 12-10, you all of a sudden start talking about
regional hosts,
hosting a regional. You're like, can you get there?
Absolutely, because you pull out another win in the next 2 games. You got Alabama coming in, who's horrific. Okay, so that's a 2 out of 3, possibly even sweep if you can figure it all out. And then you go to Auburn with, as you said, a regional on the line. Yeah, you got Casey Mize to face. You got a nice team, but Auburn's not as good as probably everyone thought they were at the beginning of the year. Now it's a real possibility, Hunt, to, as you said, host a regional, make a little run in the SEC tournament. Probably not be a national seed, but really be a regional host, and the season looks so much better. And the tough thing is the game was right there. Hester, well, they took Blaine Knight for all he was worth. I mean, he was the best, one of the best pitchers in the league, and they went toe to toe with him. The first 4 hitters had 2 hits. I mean, they knocked him out. That's probably the worst he's pitched all year, and they just still couldn't figure out a way to win it, and that's what hurts.
Blaine Knight has pitched against Singer at Florida, Mize at Auburn, and Rollis at Ole Miss this year, and Arkansas has won all 3 of those games.
Wow.
He's really, really good, and LSU was all over him. They ran his pitch count up. They hit him hard. Bo Jordan took him deep. And when he exited the game, LSU was in control of it. And last week, when Ryan Rollison pitched, and he's going to be a first-round pick too, when Rollison left, it was 3-3. No, when Hess left, it was 3-3. Rollison pitched another inning or 2. But still, you're facing these top-tier arms, and Hess is giving you every opportunity to win the game, which to me, I look at it and go, well, he can face these guys in the regular season if we can just get into the postseason and just give the guys a swing at it and see what can happen. But you worry about the guy's psyche, and because this is a different situation for all of them. None of them ever been in this situation. How they respond to these gut punches and having their backs against the wall to get into the tournament as opposed to play for a national seed. It's a totally different situation for the whole club.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure it out. And as you said, Hess hasn't been, I don't think, the dominant guy that everyone hoped he would be on Friday. But, boy, you said it best. He's pitched really well. And he's pitched certainly good enough to get W's on Friday nights. And I said it earlier, it's kind of a mental thing now because I look at it with the glass half full. They're right in these games.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not getting beat. This is the number 4 team in the country, Arkansas, and LSU had them beat the whole game.
Yeah.
So LSU's right there. The record, I know you are what your record says you are, but they're right there, and they just got to figure out a way to flip those L's into W's. And the season looks a lot different.
Yeah, there's more to get to there. There's more Pels talk to get to as well in the second hour. Sports Shorts Radio. No Ronnie Rance today. He's in Skyland. Buzzy Heidel, Hunt Palmer with you for another hour. Come back and catch us hour number 2 on the other side of Sports Center right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the three-point shooter to the three-piece suit. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to
Relief Window. Experience Relief Window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rentz, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At least one of those guys is here. Buzzy Heidel is here. Hunt Palmer, Buzzy Heidel Sports Shorts Radio. Ronnie Rentz over in Scotland. Joel Davis helped us out for the first 30 minutes of the show. And we're going to be with you for another hour here on a Saturday morning. Thanks for hanging around. It's a little bit of a dreary Saturday out there in Baton Rouge, but I think things are supposed to clear up for the game
Cinco
tonight.
de Mayo, people. I mean, we forget about that too. It's never a bad day with Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, Derby Day, Tigers on the diamond later this evening in a big-time game. A lot to talk about here in the second hour. We're going to talk a little bit of Major League Baseball as well and some Pelicans. Trying to get Henry Hayes on the line to see if we can chat Pelicans with him because he knows a little bit more than us. So that would be good.
I watched my first game. Let's see, I'm 31, so 31 years. I watched my first game, and 31 years I watched it on Tuesday. So, and I didn't even watch the whole game because it was too late. I had to get to bed.
Well, I appreciate the effort. Big Easy really appreciates Buzzy hanging in there. So let's talk LSU baseball because that's what we know. We touched on it there at the end of the first hour. I was really bummed out. I hope the players respond, and really. It's all about how Mikael Hilliard comes out early in the game. If he's hanging breaking balls like he was against South Carolina and Arkansas gets up 3 or 4 to nothing, the crowd will die, and I think the team may be in some trouble this weekend. If he can come out and throw a couple of zeros on the board, let LSU get their feet under them offensively, maybe they do respond and are right in the game again tonight. But to circle back to last night, something that was interesting in the post game that came out is that Zach Hess and Paul Mainieri both think that Hess was tipping his pitches late in the game, and Hess said he could hear the dugout
giving a number,
giving some sort of feedback to the hitters. Was that common when you were playing?
So, yes, it was. We always tried to see if we could catch a pitcher, anything you could do to get an advantage. Now, I always thought it was funny, and maybe this is why I wasn't a good hitter. I always wanted it, right? When I get in, I'm like, if we got pitches, like, call 2. Yeah, here we go, 2, and that was my number. That would be curveball, or if you said your name, it was fastball. Whatever little thing that you did, or a lot of times if a coach down at first base, if you're a right-handed hitter, maybe would have one hand on the hip for a fastball, or you go 2 hands on the hip for a curveball. Something you try to do kind of, that's not too obvious. But what I thought was funny is guys like, and again, this is why I wasn't a good hitter, guys like Blake Dean, Ryan Schimpf, who I thought was one of the more underrated players ever in the history of LSU, by the way.
Easily.
Those guys, and I say this with all due respect, had such a simple thought process at the plate that they didn't want that. That was too complicated. He's like, no. I'm like, time out. If we can get the pitch, do you not? He's like, no, I don't want it. I'm like, well, that just goes to show you why I can't hit, because I want every pitch.
Yes, so do I.
I want every pitch. I want to be leaning out, be ready. If it's fastball, I'm ready to just turn on one. And they're like, no, that's too complicated for me. I don't want to know the pitches. You don't want to know the pitches, right? What are you talking about? The funniest thing to me, Hunt, you'll appreciate this. Ryan Schimpf comes in after against Kentucky. He just hit a home run. I think we won the game like 3-1. It was a doubleheader on a Saturday. He comes in the dugout, and I always was just enamored by good hitters and what they, I always tried to learn as much as I could. Chip, what would you hit there? He literally could not tell me what pitch he hit. He said, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? And I think it ended up being a slider. But again, that's why those guys, Schimpf made it to the big leagues. That's why Dean was an all-everything player for LSU and goes down as one of the best hitters in the history of LSU. I guess those guys just didn't see it. They just reacted and let their natural ability come over. But to answer your point, we did. We would try to catch him. It's not cheating. It's just if the pitcher's going to flare.
No, that's not cheating at all.
If his pitcher's going to flare the glove, if he throws a curveball, or if he digs a little bit more, when he tries to throw the changeup. There's certain things, just little things that the pitcher doesn't even realize he's doing that can tip the pitches. But that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow if Hess was tipping him last night. And that's why they got to him.
They hit him hard there in the 8th inning. And I thought it was the right call to send him back out there in the 8th.
It's always easy to say no, but
I second-guessed Mainieri last week. I thought he should have pulled Gilbert earlier than he did. But this time I think he did the right thing.
Well, if you had some bullpen that was just dominant and you could bring a Hess in from the bullpen fresh, if they had that guy, then absolutely it would have been smart to not let Hess go out. But Hess is your guy. Who else are you going to bring in? Again, there's no disrespect to Nick Bush or something or other guys in that bullpen,
Devin Fontenot and Dane and those guys.
But those guys have not exactly shut the door when they bring him in. So go with your guy who's been shutting down the number 4 team in the country all game, and he was just a little out of gas. And then obviously the rest is history. But
so Mainieri's guy right now entering last night was Bush. I can tell based on how he handled the series last. Because if you go back 2 weeks. Bush started Game 3 and was great. So you figure he has a chance to start Game 3 of the Ole Miss series, but he got a lead in Game 2, and he only trusted Bush to go out there and finish it, which he did. So Bush is the guy he trusts. Well, now Bush has gone out there last night and got lit up. So who's next? And it's an interesting deal. Austin Bain has not pitched very much, and he's been pretty good every time he's pitched.
Right.
So that's an option. You got to shake up the infield, obviously, when you do that, but that's doable. And then the other guys are Fontenot and Beck. And Beck has been awful recently. I think I saw a stat where he's retired 4 of the last 18 men he's faced. And Fontenot, was okay against Ole Miss, but has struggled a little bit.
What's amazing, and we've made this point before, Hunt, when you've been on the show, is what seemed the beginning of the year a pitching staff that wasn't very deep. Looked like it was evolving into a pitching staff that was actually going to be something to be, looked at. Oh, God, man, we got some guys developing. Mikael Hilliard, who's obviously still really good, but was a guy. Labus looked like he was really good and was going to be, a guy this year. They were talking about maybe Stores coming back. You had Fontenot throwing well. You had Beck, who was unhittable. Bain was coming in to close doors. I mean, right?
They had 29 and a third scoreless innings in a row out of the bullpen.
The pitching staff just looked unbelievable. And then isn't the baseball just the craziest thing, how it humbles you and how confidence is a thing and momentum, because they've not been able to shut the door. They've not had success, and it's just been a snowball effect. And it's really become now kind of a depleted bullpen and really a team that Coach Mainieri doesn't have a whole lot of guys he can trust coming out of that bullpen. And that's hard to win games that way.
He has 0.
Not in the SEC. You can't win games that way because Hess is not going to give you 7, 8, and he's never going to really throw a complete game. Right. I mean, he's going to give you 5, 6. Okay, if he can give you 7, which he did last night, great. But he's never going to give you 8 or a complete game. You got to get to the bullpen, and those are the toughest innings to finish up. That's the only thing that concerns me. Well, not the only thing, but that's one main thing that concerns me about the team. But again, the glass half full Buzzy thinks they're so close and they're playing with every team, and it easily could have been 2 out of 3 against Ole Miss. It easily could have been not getting swept at South Carolina. It easily could have been a win last night. Now they're looking to take the series today. The record is what it is, but they're right there. They're so close.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show about where do they go from here. But I do want to continue to talk and talk about tonight's game as well. I mean, so you're starting with Hilliard, and if he is fantastic tonight, he's going to give you 7, more likely 6.
Yep.
So there are going to be 8, 9 outs to be made here. And if you've got a lead, because if you don't have a lead, throw whoever out there, whatever. But it doesn't really matter that much. But if you have a lead, where do you go? And so I know Paul Mainieri, and I think
you go to Beck.
Well, what I do know is he's going to go with the best guy he's got on the baseball team and not worry about tomorrow.
And that's his philosophy, and he made that.
I'm going to win individual games. So
who's that guy?
Well, it brings Caleb Gilbert and Todd Peterson into the equation.
I was going to say Peter, but
Peterson out of the bullpen has been good. Yeah. When they ask him to start, he gets rocked. So when your bullpen is as thin and has been as poor as it's been for the last 3 weeks, you got to give the guy who throws 95 miles an hour a shot. Like
the 2 guys, right? I mean, Gilbert at times can get it to 95. You're right. You got to go with the guys that say, look, they're our best arms. And you're right. He's going to go, especially.
He will not even consider who the Game 3 starter is during the game.
We'll figure that out when that day comes, which is, but no, I completely agree. And, but the problem is, I still don't think he has a whole lot of confidence in those guys either.
No, he doesn't.
That's you don't have anybody else. I mean, you can't go get the free agent at the midway point of the season. So, today will be interesting. Every game's a must-win in my opinion. I don't know that there's more of a maybe must-win than today.
It's not must-win, but they need it.
But
they need it bad.
I mean, it's if they lost today, tomorrow would be a must-win. But no, they need it really bad. I mean, look, 26-20 overall. I mean, now we're talking about NCAA play.
No, that's all we've been talking about all week.
But for the longest time, I said, they're going to be in a region. I mean, they're certainly going to be in a region up until even this weekend. But a tough loss last night, and if they can't get off the schneid, then it's it's going to be the first time they would miss it since 2011.
Here's one thing that I would say if I was talking to the team, and it would not be the team, it would be to one individual guy, and I think he knows this. Mainieri has actually gone to him earlier this year and said this, but they need Zach Watson to be a game changer, and he comes up in some big spots last night and hitting a couple double plays. I realize he's trying, and I realize that he's not healthy, but he's the best player they got, and he needs to hit one in the seats. he needs to be the guy. I mean, every single game in 2008 for y'all, it seemed like Blake Dean got a big home run during that stretch. I mean,
how many did he hit?
I mean, 150. Your best guy has got to be the dude, and right now, that's not the case for LSU. Watson has been very good this year, but they need him to be elite because they don't have as great a supporting cast around him.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing when you put it on one guy, but that's the type of player he is. And I mean, look, he said it. I mean, he's hitting 324. He's having a really good year, but you got to have game changers. And I like this team. I said it, when the season started. They don't scare me. They weren't a team that scared me if I was an opposing team. but they've got a really dynamic offense. They do a lot of different things, and they do a lot of different things well. They don't hit the ball out of the ballpark all that much, but yeah, Watson's got to be a game changer. But I really think it just goes back to the pitching staff and that bullpen, and it's just who can you find to get the last 6-9 outs of the game.
What's A.J. Labus's role in this team?
I wanted it to be Hilliard on Saturday, Labus on Sunday. I don't know that. I guess I was wrong, but I really thought Labus was. I watched him pitch, and I realized it was midweek games, but I watched him fill up the strike zone time after time with multiple pitches, work quick, work with composure, great demeanor. Give up a hit, get right back in the zone, not make a mountain out of a molehill. We talk about the snowball effect. He didn't have the snowball effect.
Right.
He would just get right back in there. And I truly thought, even at him throwing 86 to 88 miles an hour, not even having his great stuff, I thought he would be a game changer. So to answer your question, I thought he would be a Sunday guy. I really did. That could give you 5 innings, 6 innings on a great day on a Sunday, and maybe give up 1, 2, 3 runs, keep you right in the game. But he's just not been that guy. So a weekday guy is probably his role.
We'll see. Maybe they throw him out there tomorrow, but they got to take care of business tonight. Sports Shorts Radio here. Hunt Palmer and Buzzy Heidel back on the other side of this break, talking some more sports on a Saturday morning in the capital city on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the Grand Slam hitter to grandparents. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Does the new year mean new windows, hardy plank, or vinyl siding? Then you need to call Relief Windows for award-winning customer service and years of experience. Looking for quality replacement windows with lifetime warranties? Trust Relief Windows. Call us or come walk through our showroom and get a free consultation with one of our many window experts. Relief Windows is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Come see us today or call 288-8138. 288-8138.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the blue chip athlete to blue collar worker. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you.
Don't sweat the technique.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rentz, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
rolls on a Saturday morning here in the capital city. Appreciate Ronnie Rance giving us some retweets from Scotland. That's building the brand, is what that is.
He FaceTimed me this morning from Scotland. I'm like, you're in Scotland right now. The technology is amazing.
Yeah, and also, don't worry about us. Have fun in Scotland. We'll take control of the 2-hour radio show. We're good.
Yeah, go shoot your 120 at Carnoustie. If you
Just have some scotch. It'll all be good. Henry Hayes joins us now. Hayes on Hoots. We're going to talk a little bit of Pelicans. There's some buzz in South Louisiana about these Pels, Henry. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. You see a crowd like they had yesterday in the Smoothie King Center, and it's alive. I mean, playoff basketball. So I've always said for folks that don't really get into the regular season, and I know it's a long one, but playoff basketball is tough to beat because you have the best athletes in the world going as hard as they can for every play of the game. And the fans feed off that. And obviously, New Orleans is new to this kind of success. And this is what we've waited for really a decade since the Hornets came to town, now the Pelicans. And you're seeing what that success can bring in terms of bringing people out. So there's a buzz for sure. And I think it's because, look, I think most people are realistic. It's going to be unusual if the Pelicans can pull this off against the Warriors. But I think people can sense what's coming because most of this team is young, and they have their better years in front of them. So that's exciting.
Certainly is, and I think Sunday is going to be absolutely packed. Let's talk about the first 3 games of the series that have led up to what we'll see on Sunday. So Steph doesn't play in Game 1, and the Warriors still light it up. And you're like, man, he's going to come back. This is going to be pretty brutal. But for the second 2 games, the Pels have been right there and even much better last night. I want to talk about style of play first. I mean, obviously, New Orleans only knows one way. That's go. And that's playing right into the Warriors' hands, but that's how they got to do it, right?
I think so. It's funny. After Game 1, Gentry played even faster. And the Warriors even admitted that the pace was exhausting. That's the Warriors saying this. So going literally as fast as they can. And that's where Rajon Rondo really helps you out because he's suited to play that style. And then, of course, they can go combo with Holiday or Rondo pushing the ball in the break. But I think, look, as simplistic as this is going to sound, this series really comes down to one thing. It's New Orleans shooting the ball behind the arc. When they're making shots like they did last night, they are going to beat anybody. I mean, look, 10 of 17 for Solomon Hill and more is rare. So I think if they're making threes, they're going to be a tough out. Now, if they're not, then that's where Golden State really hurts you because they can play fast too, and they've got shooters. So, a lot of times you'll have 3, 4, 5 storylines. That's really it in this series.
Visiting with Henry Hayes. Henry, wanted to ask you, you brought up Solomon Hill. How about really both those guys, Solomon Hill and Ian Clark, 2 role players that come off the bench and light it up from 3-point range? Am I to believe that they're going to continue that hot shooting? And how key are those 2 guys for this Pelicans team?
I mean, Buzzy last night was the equivalent of those guys going 4 for 5. So you tell me. Does that happen every game of baseball? No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, though. There's a trust level amongst this team now and a chemistry where you didn't always see, them looking to kick to open shooters like that, like Solomon Hill behind the 3-point line. And so they're saying to him, hey, we trust you taking this shot in a pretty big moment. And that's a big deal for chemistry of a basketball team. And again, that's why I say it bodes well for their future. Now for the foreseeable series, they're going to have to shoot it like that. They're going to almost have to shoot it at a 50% clip to have a shot. But it's must-see TV. Now, I'll tell you this. Tomorrow is a really big game, obviously. Goes without saying. But if they can get tomorrow, then you're in essentially a 3-game series where you put that little seed of doubt in Golden State's head. You want to string this thing out as long as possible if you're the Pelicans. So, obviously, the crowd should be at an all-time high on Sunday, and you'd think the Pelicans would be more than ready to play.
If they win tomorrow, Joel Davis might have something here. I mean, he thinks they're going to win, Henry. I mean, he thinks this is the team.
Well, I've always said that I predicted that if the Pelicans won this series, it would have to be in 6. The numbers are so dramatically against a road playoff team in the NBA. Closing out on another team's floor in Game 7, it's just really, really difficult. The whistles don't go your way. The crowd's fired up against you. So, we'll see. We've seen a lot of basketball axioms turn on their head lately. But at a minimum, it's great TV, and it's great for the region because they can really get behind this team, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they really are. Henry Hayes joining us here talking a little bit of NBA basketball, Pels specific right now. Henry, since the Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett run with the Celtics, I feel like as a casual NBA observer that Rajon Rondo fell off the face of the earth. I mean, I know he played for the Bulls for a while. You just hadn't heard him, and I thought he was done. He's dropping 20 assists in playoff games now, and he's leading the charge of one of the most explosive teams in the league. Am I wrong to say he kind of disappeared and has been resurgent?
Well, it depends on what level you watch the game, but for the casual fan, you're absolutely right. And look, add the Sacramento Kings and the Chicago Bulls, Dallas Mavericks into that, which you didn't mention. So he became a vagabond. And here's the deal with Rondo. Rondo's an enigma because if you ask players, scouts, coaches, folks that are in the league, there's probably not a guy that has a higher basketball IQ than Rajon Rondo in the game. Now, the problem with that is he's very, very stubborn and hard-headed to the point where he's played himself right out of organizations. Dallas is the best example. I mean, he had what some thought was a pretty good thing, that the Mavs could have offered him a multi-year deal worth a lot of money, and he played himself so far off that team that they let him go and didn't ask him to come back and play during the season, which is incredibly rare. So if he butts heads with you, he's not going to back down, and most coaches and owners don't like that. But the flip side is the talent like Anthony Davis. I mean, he's had this one other time in his career. 2009, 2008, Kevin Garnett was a player very similar to Anthony Davis in build and stature, what they do, their intensity. And Rajon knows how to play with guys like that. So I think what he sees here is opportunity in terms of, resurrecting his career. I think he's 31 years old, so he's got a good bit of basketball left. And you see how drastically he can change the game. He was 2 for 11 in that game, and yet he had 21 assists, and I believe he had 10 rebounds. So we really don't have anything like him in the game, in that he can really change the game with just having the basketball in his hands, doesn't have to score. And so I'd say he's in the right situation. And, credit Alvin Gentry, because Gentry's not trying to micromanage or micro-coach this guy, because when you do that, bad things are going to happen. So Gentry has figured out a way to use him. And Drew Holiday has also benefited from the presence of Rondo, because what we see now is Holiday's really better off the ball. And he is a nightmare matchup for really anybody when he's getting to the basket. So all in all, it's been great. Now, it'll be interesting to see the way the Pelicans approach him, because he is a free agent. They signed him on a one-year deal. And so you'd say, based on this playoff success, you really have to offer him a multi-year deal. And I would expect the Pelicans to do that in the offseason.
And how important is it to have a guy like Rondo when you have Draymond Green on the other end who kind of upsets things, but then you have Rondo who can really kind of step up and represent the team in a way that we're not going to get pushed around, especially at home?
It is important. A lot of that's cosmetic. Fans that see it, they get jaw to jaw, nose to nose. It's a joke that NBA players are the biggest fake tough guys, in sports, because nobody wants to get into a fight. But look, he's a guy that he's the heartbeat of the team. Don't make any mistake, guys. Rondo's the leader of this team, and they all watch timeouts. If you're watching the game on Sunday and they pan to the Pelicans huddle, look and see who the players are looking at. Most of the time, it's Rondo, because he knows what's going on, and the players know that he's not afraid of any of those guys, and he's going to stand up to them. And it's weird. He's a guy who almost feeds off of an instigator like a Draymond Green. Like, he almost needs that as fuel to say, come on, get me going. It's like the football player who needs to get hit to get his game going. Rondo needs to kind of get jawing, and he'll get in guys' heads. So, look, they also have it on our scouting report that Draymond Green is prone to technicals. He had the most in the league this year. And so that's something that they wouldn't mind having happen. So it's all part of it, and I think every team needs a guy like that, because nobody else on this roster is going to do that. These are good guys on the Pelicans roster, but Rondo's not afraid to stick his nose in.
Henry Hayes joining us here talking a little NBA, shifting gears away from the Pels. Toronto gets their shot, and they let the Cavs come in and take 2 games up in Toronto. They're headed back to Cleveland 2-0. Does that surprise you at all, or did you expect that the Raptors would do the same thing they've done the last 3 years?
Close to stunned.
Really?
To be honest, yeah. I had them in the finals. I thought this was the year that everything, all things included, experience, having been there, tasted defeat, players in their prime, tough place to play, chip on their shoulder. Folks really kind of not paying attention to them, even though they were the 1 seed. I thought all those things played into this was their year. And then they come and they blow it. And they blew it game 1. That was the game they had to win. And, they get blown out in game 2 as the Cavs really boat raced them in the fourth quarter, which I still don't have any. I give them no excuse. Casey's getting out coached times 10 by Tyronn Lue here. This is a good Cavs team, not a great Cavs team. They made a major transfer to their roster at midseason, which is really hard to do, and yet they're getting worked, and they're probably going to get swept. So we'll see if they've got spine in Game 3. If not, obviously it's going to go down 4-0, which, it's really disappointing because you thought that they were going to get over the hump at this time, and now it's being called LeBronto. So there you go.
All right, Henry, we appreciate it. Enjoy the basketball this weekend, especially tomorrow in the Blender.
Okay, guys, see ya.
That is Henry Hayes, our basketball guy, and we appreciate him jumping on for a little bit of time. When we come back, transitioning back to baseball, huge happenings in Major League Baseball last night. Buzzy Heidel, Hunt Palmer here on Sports Shorts Radio. We'll get to it next right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the three-point shooter to the three-piece suit. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born.
Relief Window. Experience Relief Window.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was, to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, HardiePlank siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows is honored to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sports Shorts Radio rolling on a Saturday morning. You can catch Sports Shorts Radio presented by LeBears every Saturday, 10 to noon. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, Buzzy Heidel, Hunt Palmer. Somebody will be here. Just tune us in every Saturday. Ronnie Rance in Scotland. Joel Davis gave us the first 30 minutes, and Buzzy Heidel's been here. He's going to put a full 2 hours of work in here on a Saturday. Hunt Palmer here. 30 more minutes left with us. Thanks to Henry Hayes for jumping on, talking a little bit of hoops. It's fun, for the state to rally around the Pels. I realize it doesn't happen all the time, but right now everybody's in. And I think Sunday in the Quarter and in the Smoothie King Center is going to be a blast down there in New Orleans, and hopefully the Pels play like they did last night and wear them out. So transition back to baseball. Huge night in Major League Baseball last night. It starts with Albert Pujols getting his 3,000th hit. Then the Dodgers throw a 4-pitcher no-hitter in Walker Buehler, Vanderbilt product. His third Major League start. He goes 6 innings. Bullpen finishes it off, and a no-hitter down in Monterrey, Mexico in that game. But, Buzzy, I want to talk about Albert Pujols' 3,000 hit because, obviously my frame of reference only goes 30 years. But for me, and I watched a lot of Albert Pujols as a Cubs guy, he terrorized us for years in the Central. But he's the second best hitter I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Before you go to the first best
right.
of your life, and again, we're the same age, huh? We're 31?
30.
You're 30?
Yeah.
Okay. You can be 31 this year, though.
Nope, January.
Son of a gun. You're younger than I am. Okay.
Yep.
So, but we're pretty much the same age, 31 and 30. So we're going to go with who we've seen.
Right.
Look, you can go look at videos and see Hank Aaron.
Pete Rose looked great.
Yeah,
but
he looked great. I've never
know.
actually seen him, okay? Besides the video, so I'm sure he's great. Can I just say this before you say number one is? Can we take Barry Bonds off the list?
No.
He's your number one.
He's number one.
Well,
he's the best hitter I've ever seen. Did you see that guy? He got the year he hit.
Because Barry Bonds is me. Of course he's the best hitter I've ever seen. He didn't, but can we maybe put him with an asterisk next?
No, because
okay.
here's why. You can't do that.
Because everybody was doing it, I know.
Steroids or not, whatever. The year he hit 1 million home runs and broke Bonds' 73. He was getting one pitch a week to hit, and he was hitting it over the fence. He was getting walked intentionally with the bases loaded. Nobody was pitching to that guy, and when they threw him a fastball, he hit it over the fence. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And you can be the strongest dude on planet Earth and not square up a baseball the one time you get to every 3 days, and he was doing it.
So, look, and it's funny we bring this up because I actually just saw something on Facebook. I don't know why it showed up on my Facebook. It was Barry Bonds facing Eric Gagne and just a regular season at bat. And Gagne for the Dodgers is literally throwing 100 miles an hour. It's like 98, 99, 100, 98, 99, 98. He's strike one, this, that, and the other. Bonds literally takes a 98 miles an hour fastball and hits it so far foul, but he pulls it. He's ahead of it. He's ahead of the 98 miles per hour fastball so much he hits it 400 feet, right. He then has the wherewithal or the ability, the sense to wait just a tenth of a second longer and hits the next pitch so far out of center field it wasn't even funny. And I literally just watched it, so it's crazy you bring that up. He was incredible, but look, you can be the strongest guy in the world and you still can't square up a ball. I get that, but he had baseball ability. He was an MVP. He was a guy that was probably a first-round draft pick. I don't know when he was drafted, but he was a guy. His dad played his godfather was Willie Mays. He grew up playing baseball, and then he injects himself, and everybody was injecting himself. He probably hit it off of Gagne, who Gagne probably had more steroids in him. They all did. I'm just saying that he probably hit it off of guys doing steroids as well. So I get that you got to give him credit, but I just like to go with guys that maybe hadn't gotten caught yet. Although I don't, some of these guys may have gotten caught. I
got one on my list who wasn't doing steroids and was plenty good, but and I realized that he was on them, but
he was incredible. I will say
Barry
that.
Bonds'
I agree with
swing.
You.
For a guy that loves baseball, there's never been a swing in the game. There have been prettier swings. King Griffey Jr.'s swing is prettier.
Probably the prettiest.
The power that Bonds could generate with that lightning quick, compact swing, his arms were almost into his chest when the barrel was coming through.
It's a perfect example of why hitting isn't what probably the common person thinks. You got to swing hard and get the bat really out there, and right. It's just the quick, short, because that is. It is. It's one of the best, if not the best hitter of all time, Barry Bonds, whether he did steroids or not. And he was so quick and compact with that big body frame, and and he would still hit the ball 500 feet. It was incredible. And he was fun to watch. The 90s were fun. The mid to late 90s, even up to 2000, 2001. A lot of really good players. Pujols is up there. I agree. We're talking about Pujols for if you're just joining us. He got his 3,000th hit last night. He is. Oh, I'm going to mess this up, so I don't even want to say it. But he's only one of a few guys that's got 3,000 hit and 600 homers.
600 homers. There's 4 of them.
Okay, Bonds is not Bonds. Bonds doesn't have 3,000 hits, does he?
No. It's Mays, Aaron, and
Mays, Aaron, Pujols, maybe
Ruth?
Rodriguez or
A-Rod. You're right.
A-Rod.
A-Rod. Yeah, A-Rod. You're right.
I thought it might have been Griffey, but Griffey no, right here Griffey has 2,800 hits. He does not. Been 600. Oh, Griffey needed a couple.
He would limp into the finish line there with the Reds.
Griffey needed 2 more years.
White Sox.
But I'm just gonna name a few guys that, they weren't the sexiest guys out there, but in the 90s. But if you talk, and look, there's different types of hitters, right? I mean, Barry Bonds was the best hitter, I agree, but Barry Bonds hit balls out of the park. I mean, if you just want to talk about home run hitters, there was a lot of good ones. I mean, people forget about a Jim Thome.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Thome hit the ball out of the park all the time. I mean, there was a lot of good power hitters, but pure hitters, I mean, it's hard to go against a Tony Gwynn.
He's number 3 on my list. Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn, it wasn't sexy about it, didn't do anything crazy, but he just hit the ball where it's pitched. And actually, before Tony Gwynn passed away, I believe. Before he died, he said he said Pujols was a guy that reminded him of himself. Now, obviously, Tony Gwynn didn't hit right-handed or anything like that, but he said he's the one guy that I see day in and day out that takes the pitch where it's pitched and just doesn't try to pull it, that just hits it where it's pitched.
And one of the things I love on ESPN, I know everybody bashes ESPN all the time, but one of the things that I truly enjoy is when Tim Kirkjian digs into those crazy stats. And Tim Kirkjian is really cranky right now about how much guys are striking out. In the first month of the season, there were more strikeouts than hits. First time that's ever happened in Major League Baseball. And he's mad about it. And some of the Tony Gwynn strikeout numbers
it's ridiculous.
Are outrageous.
He struck 8 or something.
He struck out 3 times in a game 1 time in his career. It happens to everyone every night. I mean, Javi Baez is one of my favorite Cubs. He strikes out 3 times just about every night. But he usually hits a 2-run double or a homer, and he makes a bunch of plays on defense, and he's fun to watch.
Well,
but
it's kind of gotten to that too, though, don't you think, Hunt? I mean, it's
the launch angle and
right. I mean, like if it's so technical now, which is a good, it's good that baseball is evolving like that. I get it, but it's so technical where like I know this guy's going to hit me 35 homers because of his launch, but if he strikes out, I'm going to give and take something. Where pure hitters like the Tony Gwynns, another guy on my list, Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, he
was just a pure great hitter who probably didn't strike out a ton. It just hit the ball where it was pitched. And, so you're right. I mean, the strikeout deal is probably more now. And look, pitchers are, as much as people don't want to admit this, pitchers are way better now than they were 40 years ago. I mean,
no, they're way better now. Bullpens are way better now than they were 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I get down YouTube rabbit holes all the time, and there's a game that I remembered watching when I was in high school, and I went back and YouTubed the end of it. And it was the Cubs. It was a midweek game in the summer, and the Cubs were down by 1 run. And Sammy Sosa led off the 9th and homer to tie it, and then Moises Alou hit the next pitch out back-to-back to walk off the game. And it's just a game that I remember, and I went back and YouTubed it. The Reds' closer that day was Danny Graves.
Yep.
Danny Graves threw 92 miles an hour with a little sinker.
Does it?
The bullpen guys now in the 6th inning throw 100.
If you don't throw 98 to 100,
you're not in the bullpen.
You're not in the
bullpen. Out. And so that's why no one's ever going to hit 400 again, because
you can't.
They're taking starters out in the 6th, and the Cubs go to Carl Edwards, who throws 97, and Pedro Strop, who throws 97, and Brandon Morrow, who throws 100, and then that's it.
Everybody's specialized, too. So, like, you face the starter for 2 or 3 at-bats, and then you got a guy for your next 1 or 2 at-bats that you can't hone in on anything. You can't get a feel for them. It's just you're right. It's
the Astros.
difficult.
AJ Hinch, I heard him on MLB Radio earlier this week, and they were talking about working pitch counts and getting starters out of the game. And he goes, "We don't believe in that, because if you work the starter's pitch count up and he comes out, the next guy that comes in is better than him."
I don't want to face the guy coming in. I got a better chance with him. Right.
I got a better chance against the starter that throws 92 with a slider and a changeup than I do with the guy who comes in and throws 100.
So it's funny. I want to real quick. I know you brought up Tim Kirkjian, and I absolutely love Tim Kirkjian. I've always have since I was a kid. And I recently, don't ask me why I hadn't followed him this whole time, but I recently started following him. I say recently, probably in the last 2 months. I don't know if you saw this one. And it's since we're talking about Pujols, and of course he's got his 3,000th hit. Pujols homer off of Brad. This is from Tim Kirkjian. Pujols homer off of Brad Lidge in the 9th of Game 5 of the 2005 LDS
over
was
the train
unforgettable.
Yep.
On Astros flight to St. Louis after the game, catcher Brad Ausmus got on speakerphone on the plane. Quote, "If you look out the left side of the plane," he said, "you'll see Albert's home run. It's orbiting Earth." He said everyone laughed. He said, so, that's the baseball stuff that is from a baseball guy, that's what I miss the most about being in a locker room is just the joking around and cutting up. But that's a funny story from Brad Ausmus, and that ball was absolutely destroyed.
Hanging slider. Don't hang one to Albert. So I'll finish my list. Top 4 hitters I've ever seen. Number 1, Barry Bonds. Number 2, Albert Pujols. Number 3, Tony Gwynn. Number 4 for me, Miguel Cabrera.
Okay.
I mean, that guy.
Yeah, he's done it for a while.
I mean, he won the Triple Crown, and they said they tell stories about him in batting practice. This is how he takes BP. He starts, he hits 2 out to left, 2 out to left center, 2 out to center, 2 to right center, and 2 down the right field line.
He does it like Tiger Woods hits range balls.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the low cut. I'm going to hit the high cut. I'm going to hit the straight ball. I'm going to hit the high ball. I'm going to hit, I'm going to hit the big draw. Yeah. Literally, that's how Tiger Woods would take that's incredible that he does that.
And for him, he hit for average and power like really no one I can remember. And obviously, because he won the Triple Crown, that holds up. Plus, I factor in the fact that off the field, they know he's a knucklehead who was just drinking a ton and getting in trouble and not taking care of himself and still shows up and like, who's this starter that's going out today? Verlander? All right. He just doesn't care.
So my quick ones, and I know we got to go to break, and I went a little old school. I didn't go with the new school. I don't watch baseball as much. I really don't. Major League.
There's only one new school.
I go in no particular order. I just want to name a few. Tony Gwynn. I said Edgar Martinez. Vladimir Guerrero. People forget about Vladdy.
Very good hitter.
Manny Ramirez, he was one of those natural guys that just couldn't get out. Jeter, you look at his stats, he's like a .318 career hitter.
Yep.
He did it just a different way. Griffey was really good, and then I got to put my boy Chipper Jones on the list. Switch hitter, over 300 average his entire career. Really good hitter.
Yeah. Of all the guys that are playing right now, Mike Trout is underrated how good he is because no one ever sees him play because he starts at 10 o'clock at night on the East Coast and no one ever sees Mike Trout play. So he's going to be one of the greatest players to ever play by the time he's done. Look at his numbers. Some of the metrics, they are truly unbelievable. Sports Shorts Radio presented by LeBears. We'll be back talking a little bit more LSU baseball right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the Grand Slam hitter to grandparents. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Does the new year mean new windows, hardy plank, or vinyl siding? Then you need to call Relief Windows for award-winning customer service and years of experience. Looking for quality replacement windows with lifetime warranties? Trust Relief Windows. Call us or come walk through our showroom and get a free consultation with one of our many window experts. Relief Windows is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Come see us today or call 288-8138. 288-8138.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the blue chip athlete to blue-collar worker. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
Sports Shorts Radio with Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, and Buzzy Heidel on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing up shop here on Sports Shorts Radio. You can catch Sports Shorts Radio presented by LeBears every Saturday, 10 to noon. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, Buzzy Heidel, Hunt Palmer. Cast of thousands here on Sports Shorts. You can catch us here every Saturday morning. 15 minutes left to go. Busy sports weekend here in South Louisiana. You got the Fighting Tigers playing baseball. A tough loss last night. They're back on the diamond tonight at 7 o'clock against Arkansas. The Pels back on the hardwood tomorrow down at the Blender. We talked to Henry Hayes earlier about that. Fun times down in New Orleans. And, of course, in the world of sports, you got other NBA playoffs and the Kentucky Derby. You Kentucky Derby guy, Buzzy?
You know, I like watching it. I don't know enough about it. A couple times during my playing career at LSU, we were there in Kentucky. Like in 2008, I believe we were up in Kentucky when Matt Clark hit the big
home run,
and we swept them, and we went on the 23 game win streak. The Kentucky Derby was going on the same weekend, so it was pretty cool to just see everybody. There was a lot of buzz going around, but I enjoy watching it. I just don't know enough about it, and I don't bet it or anything.
I've been to a racetrack one time. I went to Keeneland in Lexington when LSU played Kentucky in 2007. Caught one of the week. We went there on Friday. You want to talk about not fitting in? They all have their like ties on and the hats and all that stuff. All the LSU crowd rolled in on a football weekend wearing T-shirts and drinking light beer, like
natural light.
They were not
Milwaukee's best.
Yeah, exactly. One race, the horses are coming down the stretch, and we all started chanting LSU, and they were all like, "Get these losers out of here!" Like they need. You're in college, you have no money. I was betting like $3 a race. Going to the window. One of my buddies put down $10 and hit a 10-to-1, won $100. We thought he was a millionaire. Yeah. Like we can buy so much natural light with this $100. This is going to be unbelievable.
We're going to be good for the next night. We'll be good for the next night.
So I like the racetrack. I think it's fun. I watch Kentucky Derby every year, and I'll watch the Preakness, but I won't watch the Belmont unless there's a Triple Crown.
Exactly.
And we watched American Pharoah win the Triple Crown at walk-ons before Chambra's walk-off home run against ULL in the Super same day. So I remember that. So I'll be tuned into the Kentucky Derby later this afternoon, but I'll be more focused on LSU Arkansas this evening, 7 o'clock.
And let's not forget, we got a horse in this race, Lone Sailor, who is owned by Gail Benson.
That's exactly right.
That is correct. I think kind of a long shot.
50 to 1.
50 to 1 would be a long shot.
But like this is the one I would bet because like things like this I feel like happen. Like Tom, went to the the happy place up in the sky. Like maybe there's some good mojo for this horse.
Drop a couple of shekels on 50 to 1 horse.
Maybe you throw you $10 at that one, and you see, that's a little $500 payout to you.
I would like to go to the Kentucky Derby one of these years. It will not be this year.
Is there? What's the? And I'm gonna put you on a spot here. Isn't there like a drink up there that's like
mint julep?
That's what it is.
Yeah, mint julep. It's bourbon. I would never drink it.
You don't like it? Okay.
I'm not a bourbon guy.
I knew there was a specific drink that is for that event.
Mint juleps and hats. I could wear a hat. I could go for a hat, but I'm not mint juleping it. I'll be wearing a hat tonight at the box, and LSU needs to win. There's just not too much you can say other than that. If you drop this one, that brings you to 10-13.
So even if you win it, you're 1-13 with 6 games.
No, those numbers don't work.
They're 10-13 if they lose.
Oh yeah, because there's an extra game this weekend. There's the numbers. Okay, so 10-13. You've now got to go 5-2 over your last 7, which is very difficult.
Very difficult. And look, even Tennessee's playing a lot better actually now than they were when they came into Baton Rouge a few weeks ago. But Tennessee was not a very good team.
No.
And it took everything in LSU's power to sweep them. You see,
took a 6-run inning.
Yeah, exactly. So even Alabama coming in next weekend, not a good team. The worst in the league. I think they're like 5-17.
They're the worst team in the league.
Okay. They're still an SEC team, and they're still going to have a guy on the mound probably throwing 90 miles an hour to 92. They're going to have guys that can play baseball, that have scholarships to their university.
They scored 5 in the first inning last night on Connor Pilkington of Mississippi State, who's a stud.
Exactly, and I think they lost a higher scoring game there.
It was a slugfest.
It was a slugfest. But point is, even if you say, okay, you can't go into a series saying we have to sweep. They're just hard to do. You don't see a lot of sweeps in the SEC. So you're right. If they lose this game, if they lose one of the next 2 games, okay, and they're 11-13, going with 6 games left, and they've got to go 5-2. You got to sweep Alabama. You have to sweep Alabama, and that's just
because Casey Mize is lurking in Game 1 against Auburn.
Yeah, I just don't know that's going to happen, and so this is important. As important as any game, and it's always the next game's important.
Yep.
But they're facing a guy tonight with Arkansas.
Casey Murphy.
That I want to say he's 6th in the league in a lot of these.
He's got a better batting average against than
Knight did.
Than Blaine Knight. Yeah.
Than Knight. So they're going to have their hands full. And Mikael Hilliard, I don't know. I hate to think where this team would be if Mikael Hilliard was still at Central High School.
I got an idea. It's not good.
It wouldn't be good. So he's got to be really good again tonight, because what he has to do is try to keep somewhat. And again, Paul Mainieri is going to do everything it takes to win this game. But with that being said, you can't have Mikael Hilliard go 3 or 4 innings, and they've got to get to that bullpen, which is already not strong. And you lose this game, now you got nothing for tomorrow's game. So
LSU needs to get a lead early in the game tonight. I realize the fan base. You can take the pulse on Twitter. You can take the pulse in message boards, wherever, just talking to friends. A lot of the fan base is out on this team. They're just not good enough to win the national championship. I'm not paying attention. I'm not showing up to games, whatever. I just never think that way in college baseball, because
you get a Fresno State in 2008 who
you get a Coastal Carolina, you get a
Coastal
Stony Brook, you get a Kent State. I mean, last year Texas A&M wasn't any good, but they got a break. They won their regional, and North Carolina lost theirs. So all of a sudden, an inferior team in Davidson shows up to your regional,
to your
super, and all of a sudden you're in Omaha. So this team is capable of winning weekends. They were one swing away from beating Ole Miss on the road last weekend. And last night they had Blaine Knight and Arkansas on the ropes, and they just didn't get it done. And I realize you can look at it and go, oh, well, the bullpen stinks. They're not any good. But this team is capable of winning a weekend. So that starts tonight. You got to go out there and get a win. And all of a sudden you win a game tonight, you feel a lot better entering Sunday's game. And a lot of weird things happen on Sundays in the league.
Yeah, and this is the thing about Paul Mainieri coach teams. Of course, we say it every time. We might as well say it again. The last 6 years they've been a national seed. Of course, that won't happen this year. But they always are playing better toward the latter part of the year. Now that's now. I mean, they've got to start playing well, but they always play better. May or end of April, really, all of May, going into the tournament. That's their best baseball. Oh, historically, I mean, even you look at Coach Mainieri from especially from 2012 on. That's when they're playing their best ball. So the season's so long, it's hard to say, well, this team just doesn't have it, because you're right. It just can change that quick before something can go your way, and you can start getting on that train, getting on that roll. And, it hadn't looked good to this point, okay, but it doesn't take but one big hit, one big pitch to figure it out. And again, they went up with the number 4 team in the country. They went toe-to-toe with them. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but they should have won that game last night. And they're right there to do everything they want to do. They just got to. Now's the time, though. You can't keep putting it off, right?
Yeah, eventually it will be a must-win. I'm not quite there yet, but it's getting close, because you got to get to 15 wins. Where your RPI is right now, you got to get to 15, and so you got to start winning.
But even overall, I mean, if they get to 30, 31 win, I mean, they're 26 right now.
To me, it's all about SEC wins. Yeah, I mean, it's. The RPI was 21 when Matsuk was so good that year in 11, and the RPI was in the 20s, but they were 13 and 17 in the league. They didn't get in.
True.
If it's just 20 gets you a national seed, 17 gets you a host, 15 gets you in. That's kind of the way it has always shaken out historically. So
yeah, because I think they had. I think want to go back and check how many overall wins they had in 2011. It was like 33 or 4, I believe.
They just were bad in conference. Got swept a couple times, and they swept Kentucky and Tennessee to kind of save themselves late, but it wasn't enough, and they didn't let them in. So work to do tonight. I got confidence Mikael Hilliard is going to throw the ball well. I have no reason to believe that he won't.
Well, he's a strike thrower, so he's going to make them earn everything they get, and he's done it for 8-10 weeks now, right? I mean, why would it be any different? You think about Mikael Hilliard that you like. You don't feel like, and I'm not going on wood because I say it, you don't feel like he's ever just going to just implode, right? You don't feel like it's just going to be an absolute slugfest where he's going to be hit all over the park. He's going to walk everybody over the yard. You don't get that sense. And that's the confidence Coach Mainieri has in putting him out there is you feel like there's always going to be a chance there with him on the mound.
Gotta hope so. He's only had one bumpy outing all year. Hopefully he's great again tonight, and they can find somebody to get the last few outs out of the bullpen. Zach Watson needs to hit a 3-run homer tonight. That's where I am at on this team. That's going to do it for us on Sports Shorts Radio, presented by LeBears. Ronnie Rant's back in the saddle next week after gallivanting around Scotland. You won't want to miss his recap of that. How'd he do at Carnoustie? We'll find out next week. So for Buzzy Heidel, I am Hunt Palmer. This has been Sports Shorts Radio, presented by LeBears on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the three-point shooter to the three-piece suit. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Attention to detail makes the world go round. At Baker Printing, our approach to the printing business is very simple. Treat it as if it were your own. That's not always an easy job, but it comes from the top down in our company. We thrive on the unique jobs. Bottom line, we take care of our customers' projects as if they were our very own. At Baker Printing, attention to detail makes our world go round.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans